the challenge of whitewater. I love it too. As we came down, it was fairly straightforward all the way through, and then at the end there were these three massive waves waiting to eat you, and one feeds you a little bit right into the next one, which turns you a little bit right into the next one. In a rapid like this, nature tests both your nerve and your skill. Ray couldn't resist showing off on camera by surfing the wave. This takes expert balance and control. I told you, he's a paddle maestro and a little bit crazy. Some rapids just run out of water. I could feel the bottom of my delicate canoe scraping along the rocks. It was time to get out. This sort of rapid requires a process called lining. Basically walking your canoe through the shallows on a line. It can be a bit awkward at times, but it's no real hardship. Ray could still paddle down in his modern canoe. Plastic bounces off the rocks a lot better than cedar and canvas. But walking's a small price to pay for paddling such a beautiful canoe. It's not very Hollywood, is it? It was Hollywood making this movie. They'd have this boat going through the most outrageous rapids head on into them. We'll come down here, but then we'll probably have 20 of these boats and we'll break them. The reality on a wilderness journey is this is all there is. And what you have to do is you always have to put the boat first, because that's your means of getting home. You can have too little water, or of course, you can have too much. This is Split Rock Rapid. There's no way a canoe will go down that. And of course that was one of the second design criteria of the boats. First, they had to be capable of carrying the loads and negotiating the rocks. But secondly, they had to be light enough that you could carry them past the obstacles they couldn't navigate. Tying the paddles to the thwarts in this way creates a really useful set of handles when carrying the canoe. This is what's known as a portage, and yes, it's hard work. The voyageurs would have had to manhandle their huge canoes all along here. Some of the portage trails on these rivers are very long indeed. They must have been tough. Then once the canoe was in the water, they'd have to return for their load. In addition to their own clothing, each man was expected to carry 6 90-pound packs, 2 packs at a go. It was time for us to set up our last camp, and the end of the portage trail was as good a spot as any. Each journey finds its own rhythm, and this was no exception. I agreed to catch supper if Ray set the fire. A whitefish, fantastic. They're great eating. What a way to round off a wonderful trip. We'd both be taking home great memories. Negotiating just part of this voyageur route had been a fabulous experience. After dinner, it was good to have time to reflect. It's a bit spooky to be camped alongside a portage trail like this. These trails were established even before the fur trade by the local Indian population moving through the forest, and then of course they became the highways for the voyageurs to portage their pieces, 90-pound packs, past the falls. I sometimes think that if you sat here quietly enough in the evening, you could see the ghosts of the voyageurs pass by. Envoyons l'avant, envoyons l'avant nos gens, envoyons l'avant, envoyons l'avant nos gens, envoyons l'avant. The last day on the river always brings mixed feelings. I was a little sad to have to leave such a wonderful place, but it was coupled with a true sense of satisfaction that we'd really been to the heart of this river. But more than that, when you use this sort of equipment, canvas, wood, you've accepted that your life in the wilderness, the two are one. That when it rains, you'll be a little bit damp, but when it stops, you'll be dry. Sometimes I think when we use modern equipment, we try to exclude nature too much. It's almost like we're at war with it. For me, that spoils the spell. It breaks the spell of being here. Making this journey reinforced my understanding of what the canoe means to the people of Canada. For the original Indians, through the fur traders, right up to today, people have an affinity with it. It becomes part of them. A feeling summed up by former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, who said that what sets a canoeing expedition apart is that it purifies you more rapidly and inescapably than any other. Travel 1,000 miles by train and you are a brute. Pedal 500 miles on a bicycle and you remain basically bourgeois. But paddle 100 in a canoe and you are already a child of nature. I couldn't agree more.